what is acceptance? So in the dictionaries, acceptance is written as something like it's a willingness to tolerate difficult situations. And I think the key word there is willingness. It's a willingness, it's a choice. It's something that we choose to do. We choose to see things as they truly are and not see them through this fantasy world. So acceptance is that willingness to tolerate a difficult situation. We all find ourselves in difficult situations. Accepting that difficult situation is our choice. And it isn't passive in any way. It isn't about failure. If I accept this, it means that I failed, or somebody else has won, or I'm not very good. We are so good at putting ourselves down. We're so good at having that inner voice chattering away, just, being negative to us. Acceptance isn't about that. It's not about being passive. It's having that willingness to accept what is, accept reality. And we cannot fake acceptance. Our minds just won't let us. You try to fake, just like, oh yeah, I accept, and you don't. Your mind won't let you do that. So when we accept, we have to truly accept. And why do we accept? We accept because really it's the only logical thing to do. What has happened has happened. So whether we try to fight it, whether we try to deny it, whether we try to suppress it, whatever we try to do, or even ignore it, what has happened has happened. So then it's logical for us to accept. And we need to acknowledge that there's a problem. So when we accept, we acknowledge that this is here, this is happening. And the opposite to that, if we don't accept what we are doing, we're in denial. So we're actually resisting what is already a fact, what is already true, what has already happened. So that is why it's important. It's important for us to accept so we can move on. And we don't waste our energy on things that are completely not in our control. We have this thoughts in our head that we need to control everything. We need to be able to sort everything out. As human beings, we really hate not having answers. We hate not being able to sort everything out. But guess what? We're not perfect. We can't do everything. And certain things are out of our control. Fight them if you want, but you will lose that battle. Denial, you'll lose it. Suppression, just trying to distract yourself from it. All of that we will lose because what has happened has happened. So it's so important for us to be able to move on with our lives. Acceptance helps us to move on. If we don't accept and we deny or suppress, we are stuck here. So when we accept something, we move on and we're not wasting our time and our energy on something that we can do nothing about. So they say that acceptance is one of 4 choices that we have. So we can leave it, we can change it, we can accept it, or we can just stay miserable. They are what they say there are 4 choices in life. And the best one out of all of those, if we can't change it, is to accept it. So the Alcoholics Anonymous have this serenity prayer, which is such a great thing for us to keep in our mind. So the prayer is to grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change, and the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think if you keep that in mind, that accept what we can't change the things we can, and just understand the difference between those two. So when you're in a situation or something is happening, if you can change it, change it. If you can't, then accept it. So that is what acceptance is about. And it is important so we can move on, so we can move forward with our life, because without it, we're just going to be trapped in that situation that we have absolutely no control over. So how do we start to accept? So one way that we need to accept is, first of all, to ask ourselves this question: what can I control here? And what can I not control? If we put up the graphic now. So you'll see here that what is out of our control is the past, the future, the actions and behavior of other people, the opinions of other people, what happens around me, what is going on, we have no control over. What other people think of me, we have no control. The outcome of our efforts and how others take care of themselves, how others people see us, the weather, the economics, all of these things we have no control over. But I bet you that for a fact that most of us spend our time on these things here, about what people say about us, about the outcome of our effects if they've not we don't get the outcome we want, about the past and the future, about what other people are doing. We spend a huge amount of our time on those, and yet they're out of our control. They're nothing that we can deal with. So what is in our control are the boundaries you set yourself, so like the ethics and the values, your thoughts and actions, the goals you set yourself, what you give your energy to, how you speak to yourself, how you speak to other people as well, and how you handle challenges, how you handle your emotions, how you take care of yourself. All of these things are in our control. So they're the things that we need to be focusing on. So when you're in a real difficult situation, you need to be asking yourself, what can I control? What is in my control? Because if it's in my control, don't waste your energy moaning and complaining about it. Get on and control it, change it. If it is totally out of your control, accept it. We have no other choice. If it is out of our control, all we can do is sit and complain about it, but it's not going to change. Just because you want it to be a nice sunny day and you spend the whole morning complaining about the weather, it isn't going to change. It's out of our control. And all of those things there, and many, many situations we find ourselves in, are out of our control. So that is why acceptance is such a huge thing. Because if we accept, we are going to help our emotional and our psychological well-being. If you are going to fight everything, even though you know I can't change it, but you're still going to be miserable, you're still going to complain about it, you're still going to feel negative, that is destroying your emotional and psychological well-being. So that is why acceptance is so important, because it means that we're able to move on. It means that we've accepted that this is what is happening now. I can do nothing about it. I need to move on. So we can take that down now. So it's about acknowledging reality. Instead of having that catastrophizing type of thinking where we think of the worst case scenario, we think, oh, this is going to happen or that is going to happen. Again, when we think like that, we need to think, is that actually a fact or is that an opinion? And will that happen or could it happen? Is it in my control or is it not in my control? This is how we should be looking at situations. Not looking to see, oh, this means that I failed or anything like that. It's not anything to do with failure. If you can't control it, you can't control it. That's the end. So we need to make sure that we acknowledge the reality of things and not step into that catastrophizing, generalizing, and just looking at the worst case scenarios. We also have to be careful that we don't bring up defense mechanisms to stop ourselves accepting what's going on. Because a lot of the time that people don't want to accept something, they'll bring up some defense mechanism. Maybe they'll start drinking too much. Maybe they'll take illegal drugs, or maybe they'll go out and, just become shopaholics and spend lots of money. Or maybe that they'll go into I'm a victim mode. I mean, we all have different defense mechanisms. So we have to be careful that when we reach a situation that we can't control, we don't slip into that defense mechanisms. When we accept things, it lets go of judgment, because there's no judging this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. This is out of my control and this is in my control. So it's more about taking responsibility. Also in there is a little bit of forgiveness for yourself. So maybe, you found yourself in this very awkward situation and, you're finding it hard to accept, but you need to accept. So forgive yourself, support yourself through these difficult times. And remember that nobody is perfect. We're not perfect. Nobody else outside of us is perfect. So things are going to happen. Things are going to happen that, we don't want them. We don't want those things happening. But they're there. So don't spend your whole time criticizing and judging and, feeling victimized by it. Take responsibility. Support yourself, forgive yourself, be kind to yourself through this, but take responsibility that I can't change it. So I have to accept it, or I can change it. So I need to just find ways now of changing it instead of just letting it go over and over in my head that how unfair this is, or this shouldn't be like this. One really good way to help ourselves through this is to be present in the moment. Because if we're not present in the moment, then we can miss. So when we're present, it means we're aware of what is actually happening. So, mindfulness, awareness is really helps us here, because if your mind has gone off and you're catastrophizing, then you're not going to be able to look at it. Is it in my control? Is it not in my control? If you go back to the past and you keep thinking about things that have already gone, again, it isn't going to help you. What's going to help you is that what is happening now, not what may happen, not what did happen, what is happening. So mindfulness is a great tool for helping us to accept. When we bring ourselves back to the present moment, we're here with whatever's going on, whether it be good or whether it be not so good, we're here with it. So that means that we're able to accept it. So being present is really important for us. Now, of course, there are things that we shouldn't accept in life. And I think I just want to say these so there's no misunderstanding here. So, we don't need to accept being in an abusive relationship or being treated poorly by somebody or disrespected by people. We don't need to accept being harassed, taken advantage of, or not treated fairly at work. And we shouldn't accept feeling burnt out or anxious or having a lack of motivation. There's no need to accept that. We can do something about the burnout, about our anxiety. Whenever acceptance becomes an obstacle for you to stand up for yourself, then you shouldn't accept it. So if somebody is abusing you, then don't accept that. So we're not talking about that here. I think, it's important to be clear that we're talking about the behavior of other people, we're talking about situations, but we're not talking about people who are abusing us, treating us badly. It is not for us to accept that. We should never accept that. So acceptance is a choice. We can have it that we can accept things as they are, or we can fight against them. That is our choice. It's a willingness. So we need to be willing to accept, because we need that willingness, because sometimes it's not easy to accept. Sometimes that we feel that we're being hard done by, or, this shouldn't be happening to me. But the way to really break all this down is to ask yourself this question: can I control it or can't I control it? And, it's not black and white, because out of some situations, you may be able to control certain parts of it, and other parts of it you may need to accept. But by stopping and asking that simple question is going to help you to start accepting. And once you start to learn how to accept, then it will take so much pressure off you. So much of that negativity will just fall away, because, I don't like it, but I can't do anything about it, so I accept it. So acceptance has to be a choice. It's never passive. It's for you to decide that I can't control it, so I have to accept it. If you enjoyed this video, then press the subscribe button now. And don't forget to share the video with your friends.